Close your eyes for a moment. I would like to take you back in time. Back to a time where you were a young lad, growing up with the earliest settlers that settled the West. Mom told you we're moving, going to a place where no one has gone before, to make a new life for our family. You ask her, where? And she simply replies, Colorado, my dear. The next day, you hop in a covered wagon with Mom and Dad, Uncle John sitting in the shotgun seat, making sure you and your sisters and brothers make it to Colorado safe and sound. Aunt Jane sitting in the front seat, holding the reins, telling the horses to mush, mush, mush. You're sitting in the back with your sisters and brothers, swaying back and forth, back and forth. Because the roads that you're traveling on are very bumpy. The smell of dust fills the air, and the sound of hoofprints going clippity clap, touching the cold, hard ground. You also hear the sound of people talking in the background. These people have high hopes and dreams, but you're old enough to know that some of us will not make it. You stop for the night beneath these wonderful and monstrous peaks, which are the continent's backbone. You overhear Uncle John saying, how are we ever going to get through these monstrous peaks? But somehow you make it. But you don't have any idea that this vast territory in Colorado, beneath these monstrous peaks, would be called Colorado's Rocky Mountain National Park. Now, open your eyes. Can you see it? I can. Rocky Mountain National Park is home to 150 lakes, 450 miles of streams, and 300 miles of hiking trails where visitors can go and hike through the world-renowned scenery of Rocky Mountain National Park. Rocky Mountain National Park consists of 60 mountain peaks over 12,000 feet high. My name is David Minty, and I will be your narrator for this epic adventure through Colorado's own Rocky Mountain National Park. Through this adventure, we will be discussing many things. But first, we will discuss the different ecosystems that are found at Rocky Mountain National Park. Secondly, we will discuss the many different animals that you can find at these magnificent and wonderful ecosystems. Lastly, we will discuss what could harm these magnificent ecosystems at Rocky Mountain National Park. There are 3 different ecosystems that are present at Rocky Mountain National Park. One is the Montan ecosystem, which is between 5,600 feet to about 9,500 feet. These are generally on cliff edges. There are 2 places where this can occur, this type of ecosystem. One on the south face of a cliff, which is normally dry, and the other on the north face of a cliff or slope, where water is more abundant and trees can grow. These trees can't grow like a forest. They have to find ways in and around cracks and crevices, so they grow closer together. Some of the animals that live in this area are tree swallows, ravens, American robins, badgers, black bears, and also the world famous chipmunk. The second ecosystem is the subalpine ecosystem. It ranges between 9,000 and 11,000 feet. It contains mostly subalpine fir and Eagleman spruce. Some of the indigenous species that are present in this magnificent ecosystem is yellow rump warblers, northern ghost hawks, Clark's nutcrackers, deer, mouse, coyotes, and elk. You might be wondering, why is something named Clark's nutcrackers? Clark's nutcrackers is quite interesting. He saw them cracking a nut, so he decided to call them Clark's nutcrackers. The last ecosystem that we will discuss is the alpine tundra ecosystem. This thrives at elevations of 11,000 to 11,500 feet. It is called the land above the trees. Not a lot of vegetation grow here. When vegetation does grow here, it is in this dwarf stage. Some of these native species that thrive at this elevation are the prairie falcon, the white-crowned sparrow, the rose finch. Do you still have that image of you in the covered wagon with Mom and Dad, Uncle John sitting in the shotgun seat, making sure you and your younger sisters and brothers make it to Colorado safe and sound? And Aunt Jane sitting in the front seat, holding the reins, telling the horses to mush, mush, mush. You are sitting in the back with all your family, younger sisters and brothers, going back and forth, because the roads you're traveling are very bumpy. And the smell of dust is abundant in the air. And the sound of hooves going clippity-clap, touching the cold, hard ground. I can. Now take that image and place it in today's fast-paced world, where automobiles rule the wilderness and Rocky Mountain National Park is a barren wasteland, where there are no trees, no plants or animals that live at this park. This is where we are heading if we do not prevent or eliminate air pollution or greenhouse gases. Air pollution affects Colorado's Rocky Mountain National Parks by the number of car exhausts that come into the area. The overpollution or the overexposure of this pollutant gas can cause sensitive plants and animals to perish as their food source disappears. Greenhouse gases cause temperatures to increase all around the world, which cause earlier snowmelt and flash flooding. Rangers at Rocky Mountain National Park has already noticed the effects of this phenomenon. This brings us to the end of our great adventure, and I hope that you have a better understanding of this magnificent ecosystem and the issues that surround Rocky Mountain National Park.